camera angles of being on, the field and all this. And I always maintained that that's one thing if it's a goal line touchdown or something, but if you're, at the 30, you're kind of better in the stands or having a far off view to try to capture the touchdown pass or something. I've always felt that way. So,
well, I mean, for that point of view, we're always doing stuff that we always put like a special segment where you get up close and personal and you get sound but yeah, I won't be shooting much anymore. So when I do, fill the field.
Yes. Well, then I guess you'll be sort of like Kenny Hawkins over here in Johnson City and all that. All right, let's bring you on here. You know what I think of this next guy? If you've listened to Tri-City Sports Now, in fact, I almost think that I'm giving him a disservice by calling him Guy. That's been something to sort of diminish or make a position casual in recent times. Stan Pamfilis, in my opinion, is one of the last great American local sports TV figures. Yeah, he goes back to let's call it the Ron Burgundy days. Remember Anchorman, the local TV sports guy, ruled the town. Sure, he goes back to that, but that's one of the things that make him a legend. The enthusiasm, the way that really, if you watch WLOS newscasts over the years, I've sensed that there's a feeling of camaraderie and comfort zone that is a refreshing watch when I've lived in Western North Carolina. I know I haven't lived there for your entire career or so, but I really did get a pick up on that when I did. So it's always nice to talk to you, Stan Pamfilis, and you've been covering the Southern Conference tournament for a long time. Where do you think this past Southern Conference tournament ranks with this one that we had in 2018 with the others that you've covered in Asheville? What stands out from this one among all the ones that you've covered?
One thing is the top four were head and shoulders to me, everybody else. I mean, there were a couple of good games with some of the lower seeds, but really the top four were really solid. They're as solid as you get for a while. And the games, the semifinals were good, and the game was tense. It wasn't exciting as far as the level of play. I think they were both so into it, and they both played such good defense that it made scoring a little hard, but then it got going. And unfortunately for ETSU, I thought when Bradford went out, that really hurt him because they were up one. Then when he came back, he wasn't the same. He didn't have a good scoring night, but they had to throw him off a little bit, I think, and they had the other ankle injury as well. So it was, but overall, as far as Asheville is concerned, it was a great tournament. They had over 30,000 last night. I mean, when ETSU, like I told you, when they come to town, that really makes a big difference because they load the place. Last night it was about packed, and big crowd there. And the tournament, I think it was over 32,000 as far as in attendance. So that's good stuff. And as far as level of play, I thought it was pretty good. But like I said, I felt like the top four were kind of above the rest. But anytime there's a tournament in Asheville, we love it.
I would agree with you. I mean, I think that the top teams in the Southern Conference are proving that they can play at a very high level in college basketball. I mean, when I see Wofford defeat North Carolina or UNCG, defeat NC State, and play with Virginia losing by 12 even when Francis Alonso doesn't score, it tells me that, if you did put them in that major conference, I don't think they'd win it, but they'd, hold their own. They'd be middle of the road, that sort of thing. My opinion. I don't know. What are your thoughts here? You've watched the SoCon. I think, there is a big hierarchy. 420 victory teams against 420 loss teams. But do you think that a UNCG could hold their own in a major conference?
Their kids aren't one and done, so they build, and their teams get better and better, and through leadership, through play. I mean, they've got experience. Whereas a lot of these big schools, they have great athletes, but a lot of them are one and done, so the experience factor isn't as great. So I think there's always that potential because these kids at UNCG or ESU or Wofford or wherever, they played together for 3 or 4 years, and they know how to play together. They know how to perform at certain, at crunch time. Where some of the bigger schools with they have too many one and done. I think there's a kind of a lack of veteran leadership. Whereas like North Carolina, because they were always under that cloud of suspicion, they didn't get a whole lot of 5 stars, but they got some pretty good players, and they all stayed. which was unusual for a big-time program. I think that's one reason they've played so well the last couple of years, in culminating on that national title. So I think it's a big item. I think UNCG, I mean, they've proven they can play with people. Like you said, I don't know if they could be number one, but they could certainly be in the mix, no doubt about it. And, of course, Wofford won at Georgia Tech as well. So Wofford is 2-0 in the ACC, so that's pretty darn good.
Yeah, I know people are talking about Syracuse as an at-large bid, and I'd say, well, what about Wofford here? Because against common opponents, and people talk to me about quadrant victories and RPI. Here's all I look at. Common opponents, Wofford 2-0, Syracuse 0-2 in the ACC. You know, Fletcher McGee averages 22 points a game. Their best guy averages 20 points a game. You know, I mean, I believe, that absolutely Wofford or the top teams of the Southern Conference could play on a level of what, say, Syracuse is playing on this season. And I believe the Orange's record is 19-12 this year out of the ACC. Anyway, I do want to ask you, you follow and cover Western Carolina. I was a bit surprised that Larry Hunter, who was on this show a couple of weeks ago, retired. I didn't get an inclination he was going to do that, and certainly I thought the Catamounts seemed to be on the rise from last year. They're exceeding expectations, but he retires with 702 victories. John Hooper just came on and mentioned some interesting names. Antoine McCollum, Jason Shea, the ETSU assistant, as well as Daniel Willis, the the Citadel assistant, excuse me. He also mentioned to me privately Nick McDevitt, UNC Asheville. Is Western that much better of a job than the Bulldogs? I was a little surprised about that. Who do you think will be the, well, first of all, where is the hierarchy between UNCA and Western?
I think they're pretty much even as far as that. I don't think Nick would go there. I think he's looking for something a little bit bigger.
Yeah. I agree with that. Question, though, who do you think is the next, if I had to ask you to place a bet, who do you think is the new coach at in Cullowhee?
I don't know where they're looking, but like I heard Jonas Hayes, who's a Georgia assistant, and he was one of the Hayes twins that played at Western before they changed coaches. They transferred to Georgia and had really good careers there. I heard his name being sort of mentioned, at least in the Atlanta circles, that he might be somebody that could come back. He's got a pretty big name. But I really don't know where they're headed. I mean, I don't know if they're going to try to stay in-house, or they said they've got a national search because everybody does that. So, I was surprised that Larry left, but I think the last couple of years have not gone the way they hoped. And although they got better this year, but it might just be 68. He's been there 13 years. He said he's got people maybe start maybe a little voice to listen to, which is probably true. But I'll tell you one thing: when he came in, he really righted the ship, got him some wins, made him very competitive very quickly, and did everything with a lot of class, and a lot of people love him. And I think he did a great job at Western Carolina. Last couple of years have not been easy on him, I know. But it's time, I guess it's time for him to move on, and we'll see what happens, and hopefully Western can get somebody just as good as he was.
Can you win at Western? Can you revive 96 again?
I think you can do it occasionally. I don't think you can do it on a regular basis. I think you can definitely do it, build from the bottom, and hopefully you're good enough good guys that hit magic. But I don't think it's going to be a consistent big-time winner. But you never know, though. Depends on who they bring in. The thing is, if they bring in somebody young and he turns it around real quickly, he's gone.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true and all that. And that's one of the things about ETSU is that Steve Forbes is 53. And I maintain that last night may have cost him about $1.5 million annually. It's one thing to bring in a two-time NCAA tournament coach. It's another thing to bring in someone who finished second, who didn't win the SoCon. Why don't you bring in Wes Miller? He's the guy that won it and all this. Last question for you here. I got a minute left. Stan Pamfilis at WLOS. How do you think UNCG can do in the tournament? Jeff Mills of Greensboro.com is saying he thinks they could be an 11 seed. I think that's a little high, but could you see UNCG with Alonzo, Kuiper, whoever, maybe knocking off a team or two and being a surprise team in the tourney?
I think it'll be like a 13 or 14, I think. And I think it depends on the matchup. That's the way it always is in that.
Sure.
They got some pretty athletic players. Alonzo didn't play good last night, but he's a good player. Kuiper, he's not real athletic, but man, he can shoot it when he gets on. So, why not? I mean,
Kuiper was better from long range than Dwayne Kuiper ever was. That was my tweet, and Jordy liked it. I'm sorry, I have